Good evening and welcome to the 2025 Reynoldsburg State of the City. State of the City is an interesting term. On the surface, it should be just about Reynoldsburg. But I've learned over these past 5 years that nothing is that simple, that there is so much more to pretty much everything. The state of our city is impacted by our national and state politics, where in the best of times, there is a robust debate about the role of government in our lives that usually leads to compromise. In the worst of times, there is no debate, there are just orders. As a former history teacher, I have had the privilege of teaching about the times that feature each path, always knowing that the pendulum gathers so much momentum in one direction while simultaneously preparing for the opposite reaction at some future point. We've seen this all play out at every level, but locally, it's a little different. Former mayor of New York, Mayor Fiorello LaGuardia, had a great quote. There's no Democratic way or Republican way of cleaning the streets. The decisions councils make, the decisions I make are felt daily, and the public response is swift, even more so in the age of social media. The level of accountability is far greater when you see me in the grocery store or the local restaurant. Some may see this as a negative, but I do not. I see it as an opportunity to address the issues of all, no matter the topic. This closeness or connection to the community allows mayors to be somewhat of an enigma. When you need your road repaired or a street light fixed, no one cares what your party is. That's why my days are always exciting and with the potential for anything. So tonight, the state of our city includes a little bit of everything. Our recent successes, our partners that we work hand in hand with to bring about the future we all want for our community, and everything in between. Now, our future is not a sprint, it's a marathon. We can't get there without an amazing group of individuals that work here in the city. Every one of them makes an impact in our community, from maintenance to mechanics, snow warriors to social workers. They all have a role in how we move forward, and I am lucky to have them here in the city. A number of our staff were recognized over the last year as Employees of the Month, nominated by their peers for contributions to make our city a better place. As you can see, these employees came from every department in the city. So I ask that we all give them, our city staff, a round of applause for everything that they do for all of us. Now, I'm often asked what Reynoldsburg is like, and while there are some simple answers, like the birthplace of the commercial tomato, and that we are always open for any type of development, it really starts with the people of Reynoldsburg. We are the most diverse community in all of Central Ohio, with over 60 languages spoken in our schools, and a multitude of restaurant and food locations that cater to every taste you can think of, all within a few minutes' drive. Unless you use Wagner Road, then it takes a little bit longer. We connect with different parts of our community to celebrate Juneteenth, recognizing the end of slavery in the United States, bringing not only a connection to our history, but partnering with agencies to bring healthcare options, including important screenings, to the community. Reynoldsburg Pride, celebrating the LGBTQ+ community, where love is love. In October, we celebrate Diwali, where you can join me and about 10,000 of our closest friends in a festival of lights. We also recently enjoyed the annual Dr. Martin Luther King breakfast, celebrating the legacy of Dr. King, and hear the call to service, because we all know the work he started is not done. No matter the event, everyone is welcome because we are the city of respect. We are a blue-collar town, hardworking, union strong. I'm happy to announce the formation of a new union in the city of Reynoldsburg, the United Steelworkers Union, and I will be presenting our first new contract to council in the coming weeks. Overall, we are a demanding type of town, especially on social media, but why shouldn't we be? We all want what is best, and the city deserves it. The question is, what are we going to do to make this community be the best that it can be? In 2024, we answered some of those questions and built a foundation for our future. We saw the opening of the Central Ohio Primary Care Facility, bringing much-needed healthcare services to Reynoldsburg. A brand-new library with some amazing features. Definitely not just a place for books. It has become a center of activity for community meetings, searching for jobs, or just a quiet place to do homework. We saw the opening of the Paragon and the ice cream that comes with it. Once you're done with that, you can actually take a walk at the new Canopy Blacklick Metro Park and walk off some of those calories. Now, I realize I'm a little biased about Reynoldsburg, but can you blame me? When the Department of Agriculture and the Fire Academy invest millions of dollars to build new facilities, When Bath & Body Works builds the largest retail shop in all of North America and Victoria's Secret expand business operations, it's easy to see why Reynoldsburg is shaking things up. We also realize there have been a lot of changes the last few years, and not everyone likes change. When I was a teacher, I would see students sit in the same spots for lunch, or maybe there's that one pew at church that you always sit at, and if someone is there before you, change is not easy, but it is always there. We see it in the city, and we see it in our schools. Just over 10 years ago, I was a proud member of the Reynoldsburg City School Board. Our challenges back then are not that different than they are now. As we all know, the school district is only as successful as the city, and the city is only as successful as our schools. The last few years haven't been the easiest for our schools. It is really easy to focus on what has happened and to find blame, but that doesn't really accomplish anything. Our goal as a community, schools, city, teachers, administrators, parents with kids and without in our district, need to find a better way. Better at academics, better at behavior, better at attending schools, attending PTO meetings and parent-teacher conferences, sporting events, National Honor Society, band, orchestra, choir, you name it, we all need to be there. Our kids and our community need this level of commitment because no one can achieve success without support, and the schools need us. It will not be easy, but I know the teachers are up for it, our administrators are up for it, and our board and superintendent are up for it. So I ask that you be part of the future of Reynoldsburg City Schools community, whether you have kids in the district or not. Volunteer to read. Be a room parent. Go to a sporting event, donate to a club or activity. Anything, no matter how small you think it may be, will make a difference in our kids' lives. Now, this doesn't mean we don't question, advocate, and yes, challenge our schools to be better. Since the election in November, when the levy failed, I have been, let us say, persistent with the Board of Education and the superintendent on next steps. What we do now will be critical for the success of our district. Each board member has had to make the best situation where there are no winners, only decisions where everyone loses. Our kids will see a reduction in services at a time when more services are needed. Our teachers will have less to do more with. Spoiler alert, they will. We teachers are resilient and stubborn. So when the district asks for help, when they ask for feedback about what kind of district Reynoldsburg City Schools needs to be, give it to them. They need to hear it, the good, the bad, and the ugly. They need to hear it from you because one day they will have to ask the community for another levy to operate, a bond issue to build facilities, and you need to let them know now what you want to see. So when that time comes, we can all take ownership of our school's future. While our schools have seen change, one thing has not, the State House. Sure, our representatives change, including the addition of Reynoldsburg's own Meredith Lawson Rowe. But there, yes, Skip, please. But there has been something that hasn't changed at all since the late 1990s, the inequality in school funding that impacts our entire state. We all know that the Ohio Supreme Court declared the way our schools are funded to be unconstitutional, but nevertheless, not much has changed. A few years ago, we saw a glimmer of hope for fair funding with the Cupp-Patterson fair funding formula, but I don't know what the State House will do this year. I'll probably call them. One option is expanding the school voucher program that really doesn't help who it was intended to, but it does help those students who are already enrolled in private schools at the cost of our public schools at much higher rates. Different rules apply, including a selective process for enrollment, ability to remove a student if disruptive, different state testing requirements, little to no special education support, and so much more. The playing field is not even. For every dollar taken away from public education, including our district, is more that has to come from a community already dealing with an increase in property taxes as high as 40% plus. Those extra dollars don't go to the schools. A law from the 70s prevent that. We must do better for our children. So to bring awareness to this and so many other issues, I need allies. One you've probably heard of, two others I'm not so sure. One of the organizations that I'm proud to belong to is the Ohio Mayor's Alliance, a bipartisan group of the 30 largest cities in Ohio dedicated to the advocacy on many issues that face our communities. The past year, we met with representatives of state government, including former Lieutenant Governor and now Senator Houston, and now House Speaker Huffman and others. As co-chair of the Education Committee, I have found allies dedicated to improving our public education in Ohio. Our belief is that more voices at the table are the better, because right now there is an economic choice being pitted upon us, seniors versus students, and we all lose that choice. Just this past year, dozens of bills were floated addressing the issue of property tax increases. It wasn't a priority. Hopefully in the next General Assembly, we will see some movement. Another organization is the Central Ohio Mayors and Managers Association, or COMA for short. As chair, I lead almost every community in Central Ohio, again, a bipartisan organization dedicated to addressing the needs of Central Ohio with topics ranging from regional energy, juvenile crime, and most importantly, home rule. We spoke directly to Governor DeWine this fall about the Ohio Constitution guarantees the right for municipalities to govern themselves. Instead of respecting that constitutional right, we have seen time and again the denial of those very rights to determine what is best for the communities in which we live. Tobacco licensing, single-use plastic bags, rent relief, corporate housing restrictions, and of course, guns. All of these impact our communities, and we don't have the ability to do anything, even if our communities want us to do something to happen. We realize we do not have to agree on everything, but we should be able to have the debate, the principled stand against the practical rebuttal. To bring us together, I hope that the House and the Senate support the formation of a home rule committee, because all Ohioans deserve the conversation that will bring common sense solutions to our biggest problems. Finally, there is the Mid-Ohio Regional Planning Commission, or MORPC. Housing info, they have it. Amtrak, they're on it. Even if the station won't be in Reynoldsburg, I still like them. They help coordinate between communities and our congressional, Senate, and state partners. But that isn't all they do. Their real gift is coordinating between all of the members' communities and never making anyone feel less important than another. They also paved the way for the next generation of local government workers with an amazing internship program that we have participated in the last 5 years. Each of these interns have taken their unique experience here, working with development, communications, and administration, and other things. They move on, but none have had a better experience than they've had here in Reynoldsburg. There's a lot of work to do, and I'm proud of each organization and my fellow mayors and managers and the roles we can play at the state level. However, my number one focus is right here in Reynoldsburg. So for us, the real question is, what's next? For that, you need to look at our budget, the only real way to see the priorities of a city. In 2025, the city has a budget of just over $33 million. The exciting process starts in September with a presentation to council in November. I am happy to say, once again, our budget is balanced. Well, actually, we're set to spend less than what we were expecting in revenue. It didn't take me long to prepare for the unexpected. Thanks, COVID. The largest part of our budget is dedicated to the best division of police in the state, the Reynoldsburg Police Department. Please applaud. We have great leadership in Chief Curtis Baker and all of our amazing officers and civilian staff. This year we are budgeted for a total of 75 officers, plus our dispatchers and civilian staff that work hard to keep us all safe. Our goal is to have the most respected agency in the state, and it's agency that's personnel reflects the diversity of our community. While a number of agencies struggle to attract and retain officers, we have worked very hard to meet those goals. Investments in tools and equipment. Without the benefit of NIL contracts, we recruit the best officers from across the state. This past year, we have seen crime fluctuate, just like in other communities. Some of our biggest challenges come from identity theft and theft from motor vehicles. But we have also seen reductions in drugs and narcotics and motor vehicle theft overall. In response to the most frequent complaint we receive, we instituted a traffic blitz program where we focus on speeding, running red lights, stop signs, and other traffic-related issues. In the past year, we increased the number of stops with over 6,000 stops. Is it enough? No, but we will continue to address this issue from an enforcement side of things, as well as road management options. Thank you to Councilwoman Mildred Johnson for her support of looking at our new creative ways to keep our community safe. Now, issues ranging from mental health in adults and juveniles can be addressed by those that have the resources to help, including our drug recovery court that City Attorney Shook has established. Giving those suffering from drug and alcohol addiction a chance for better life, we've also added a social worker program led by Sarah Roth that works with our community resource officers to provide support for officers in the field, as well as our community liaison, Yamina Adakari. This leaves our officers to do what they do best, protect and serve. It's not all traffic tickets and paperwork for our officers. It's also hosting the Citizens Police Academy to get closer with our residents, give them a firsthand look at life as a police officer. This program has also grown to include a youth experience as well. And this year, 2 classes will be offered. You never know if we have a future detective or the chief of police right here in Reynoldsburg. I will say my wife's favorite is the women's defense class for women to get some basic skills in defense and situational awareness. We also have our National Night Out, Shop with a Cop, trading cards, and thousands of other interactions that don't get the headlines. After our police department, our service department, led by Director William Dorman, is responsible for our streets, water, sewer, and stormwater. Now, I don't know how about you, but I had so much fun with the Main Street project that we jumped right into Wagner Road. Now, we are on schedule, and we're going to have that bridge open in the next week to 10 days. That's the goal. Our Wagner Road project is at the midpoint, but we already are planning out for the next year's programs. Yes, years. The time it takes to design, engineer, and fund does not happen overnight. It can take a year or more to plan. Starting in December of last year, we were notified that our Summit Road Ohio Public Works Commission grant was approved. We will begin engineering of this project soon, and it will include a traffic light at Summit, widening of the roads with curbs, gutters, streetlights, and possibly sidewalks and multi-purpose paths for residents of that area. Our goal is that this project begins in late summer 2026, after Wagner Road's done. We are also looking to address a long-standing issue in our community, the Bryce and Main Street intersection. Last year, I requested $2 million in federal funds from former Senator Sherrod Brown and, of course, our Congresswoman Joyce Beatty. The good news is the Senate committee funded the project last year. The bad news is I have to wait until the federal budget passes. So who knows when that's going to be. But with Congresswoman Beatty on the job, I think she will get that deal done. In addition to the federal funding, we will be applying for the Safe Streets grants, the OPWC grant when the time comes, and this realignment will help improve traffic flow and safety. Our goal is to work with our partners at CODA to bring these improvements with the Bus Rapid Transit Project construction. What is Bus Rapid Transit Project? I'm glad you asked. You didn't, but it's okay. Last November, residents of Franklin County passed a sales tax to fund a new style of public transportation for every resident. The quick version is a rapid bus line to get from our furthest eastern borders, currently by the Department of Agriculture, all the way to downtown Columbus. We're still working out the designs, but the goal over time is to reduce the overall number of cars on the road. Ultimately, we're going to have options for residents to go deeper into Licking County or access the BRT from areas in Reynoldsburg. I know I'm looking forward to using the buses to go downtown for events and not pay for parking. Now, I've talked a lot about our bigger programs, but I'm also dedicated to improving our residential streets as well. This year, the street program is in 2 parts. Part 1 includes permanent improvements to the road behind the businesses on Main Street. We are working with the property owners to make sure we get this right and we maintain the road after construction. Second is alleyway improvements, including behind French Run, including Cherry Alley, Buckeye Alley, Elm Alley, Hickory Alley, and Apple Alley. Part 2 is going to be a mill and pave set of streets that are determined by our engineer's evaluation. A mill and pave project is exactly what it sounds like. We're going to be pulling up the old pavement and putting down new. We hope to take advantage of all the tools in the toolbox for this part of the project, with even more slated in the future. Included in this will be sidewalk improvements, because connectivity is important for us all. Our last major focus for 2025 is our new Parks and Service Center, to be located on the existing street department building off of Main Street. Work has already begun. When the weather allows it, we'll start to see the actual construction. We'll make sure this project is on time and on budget from beginning to end. This building will be a major benefit to the community with upgraded facilities where all vehicles will be undercover, up-to-date mechanics facilities, and a fuel center that will not only fuel our fleet, but the school's buses, Turtle Township Fire Department, and our police force, saving taxpayer dollars. Yes. Each of these projects are different, but all of them take an enormous amount of coordination between the city, the state, and the federal level, not to mention including public-private partnerships. As a city, we need to make sure we have all the right people in positions to take advantage of ways to stretch the taxpayers' dollars for these funded projects. Now, our Parks and Recreation Department, Director Donna Bauman, well, she has her work cut out for her this year. Our Parks team brings in over 900 kids in just our soccer program alone, hundreds in basketball, baseball, volleyball, and all those cool activities for kids that don't play sports. That's too easy. Let's step it up a bit. They need to add Bryce Park to the list of great amenities. How about we plant some trees on Main Street and Taylor Road Southwest? Done. We're also getting closer to a timeline for Civic Park improvements, including a dog park, disc golf, extended walking trails, all in phase 1. My goal is to get this moving in 2026, with each phase following 12 to 18 months after, including access to the park from Rose Hill. More? Yep, she's saying yes. Let's add 24 acres of park space at Summit Crossing. Lots of trees, some playground amenities, and trails. Still not enough? Okay. How about a small, simple pocket park located at the former Moyer site with a splash pad, restrooms, a stage area, seating for these beautiful summer nights that seem so far away, but will be here soon. Let's aim for this in 2026, but here is a sneak peek. All right, that should be enough. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. We have one other thing. Apparently, there's a rather popular sport called pickleball. Perhaps we should have our own dedicated courts. What do you think? I guess, if you think we can handle it, pickleball courts at JFK. We have received one grant to help pay for this project, and we are working on the rest of the details, so stay tuned. We're also dedicated to extending our Green Tomato Initiative with recently installed LED lighting here at City Hall, potential efficiency improvements in heating and cooling functions with additional grant funding that we're waiting to hear about. For our community, we are looking to begin a drop-off composting station at Huber Park. If this program is successful, we hope to expand it and pick up services in the future. And lastly, but certainly not least, our Senior Center. Every so often, I'm asked to speak before members of our Senior Center, and we get to talk about all things Reynoldsburg. As long as I am done before Euchre, everybody's happy. Working with Councilwoman Mildred Johnson, we are now participating with the Age-Friendly program, and we will continue to improve our services for our seniors, including the awarding of a new grant that will allow us to transport seniors to activities and other trips, both large and small. There truly is something here for everyone. Now, one common topic with my friends from the Senior Center is housing. Why do we need it? Why so much of it? And anything else you can think of. There are always great questions, and you can tell how much they truly care about the community. They also know that the last 2 years I've talked about the housing crisis in Central Ohio. I will say that Reynoldsburg is doing our part for housing. While there are other communities that are building, but more is especially needed because Columbus cannot do it alone. So why are we seeing so much growth? Why do people come to Central Ohio? So I asked my Director of Development, Eric Meyer, and he had the answer. Jobs. People are coming because we are attracting jobs, and those workers need somewhere to live. A saying is out there that increasing housing is economic development, and it is a true statement. People are coming to our region, and we must be ready for it. I promise you will like the alternative less. I told Council President and fellow housing advocate, Shawnette Strickland, that at a conference this year, I spoke to 2 city administrators who told me stories that are more of a warning than anything else. One town recently turned off all traffic lights because there are no longer enough people in the area to need them. Another community is worried that there are so few people left that the town will cease to exist. No jobs, no housing. I could see how worried he was, knowing what was going to happen, and there was nothing he could do. People aren't moving there. They're moving here to Central Ohio. And while it is a burden in some ways, I look at it as more of a blessing. We know there is a housing crisis in the area, and a new organization, the Regional Housing Coalition, kicked off their meeting right here in Reynoldsburg. Designed to bring communities from all over Central Ohio together in common cause to address the shortage of all types of housing, I am proud to say we're doing our part. Right across the street from here, with our partners at Columbus Metropolitan Housing, will be a new affordable housing complex with a just found out 102 units. This will also be, yes, please. There will also be room on the first floor for restaurant or retail, as well as with hopes to bring in construction late summer or early fall of this year. In one of the most complex projects I've ever seen, our project at Summit Crossing will bring over 600 units of housing 23 acres of park space, 80 acres of commercial development, in addition to providing sewer capacity for a potential middle school at the Summit campus. Our team got this deal done, yes. Our team got this deal done with the public-private partnership with MI Homes, a grant from the state of Ohio, a lot of creative problem solving, and I'm happy to say that it will cost the residents of Reynoldsburg nothing. Now, housing is fine and it's needed, but I know the community is looking for what I like to call nice things. Restaurants, retail, a place where people will have something to do. How about all in one place? Late last year, the city entered into a contract to develop the empty field by Central Ohio Primary Care. Now, these drawings are very early in the process, but the general layout is what you will see. On the back side of the development will be indoor athletic fields for sports like soccer, lacrosse, cricket, track, as well as basketball or baseball and softball. Right next to that will be indoor basketball and volleyball. This facility will be the premier Eastside location for practice, league play, and tournaments. On the front side of the development will be a restaurant that will be open to everyone, but I'm pretty sure it will cater to some of those young athletes that are hungry for burgers, fries, and wings. We will also see the construction phase of the new Alliance facility. It's a little smaller than the original plan, but the essential elements are there, including a coffee shop, a standard requirement by my development director, as well as 2 restaurant parcels and restaurant space. So Todd, I'm gonna need to see you after this. Todd is from the Ohio Restaurant Association, and he already knows we want a Roosters and a Piata in Reynoldsburg, so we're gonna talk later. I am also looking forward to seeing the new Heart Food Pantry under construction. We live in times where a few bad weeks could change our whole lives, and Heart is there to help. They just need a little bit more space. Located behind the Dairy Queen on Main Street, the facility will be as close to a grocery store experience as you can get, and I look forward to its construction. Now, one of the most exciting locations is our Eastwood location across from the Department of Agriculture. Lots of possibilities there, especially with all the rooftops and businesses in the area. This is a lot for 1 year, but the best part of development is that all of this can change tomorrow and change back again the day after that. There's a lot more out there, but until we get things to a certain point, nothing is done until it's done. So we have a few ways of getting development news out to you, and it's every Wednesday right on your phones. As you've already heard, there is a lot going on, but someone out there always seems to have a friend of a friend whose cousin knows a guy who works at City Hall, and they know the real story. I don't know about that, but what I do know is Communication and Events Director Jennifer Clemens will keep everyone in the know with the best news source in town, the 12 o'clock show with Mayor Joe, live every Wednesday. The idea was based on the fireside chats of the Great Depression and has grown into a show with what I jokingly refer to as tens of viewers. We have guests from the schoolhouse to the State House, from the county and City Hall, and everything in between. We also provide updates on things like road projects, council topics, and more. Aside from the guests, my favorite part are the questions from community members. Tune in live or watch it on the rerun. Next week's guest is Reynoldsburg City Schools President Angela Abram, so I'm betting we're going to have a few questions. Now, we also have our Reynoldsburg Connects, a monthly email with a lot of great information that you can sign up for as well. Last year, we added Engage Reynoldsburg, an app designed for residents to report a streetlight being out or potholes. This is directly sent to our work crew, and the work will get done as soon as we can. We also use print media as well, including our community guide that's going to be shipping out soon, that's got answers about city services, as well as the heirloom from our Parks and Recreation Department. They are delivered to you 3 times a year with listings of all sorts of activities and events in the city. Speaking of events, we have a lot to look forward to beyond Juneteenth, Pride, and Diwali. We will celebrate the 4th of July with fireworks. We'll have a parade with the Reynoldsburg Community Association, the Artist and Makers Market, food trucks, movies in the park, and of course the Tomato Festival. While every Tomato Festival is special, this one is the 60th anniversary. We have a lot of things in the works, but I know what you really are here for. You want to know who's performing. So I can tell you that on Thursday night, we will have Arena Rock perform. Friday night, we will have an R&B act that I can't tell you yet. I'm sorry. It's contractual. Now, Saturday night, we've heard some good things from the community about some feedback, and they have asked to bring a little country back into our lives. So we're going to be bringing in Dylan Carmichael and Eddie Montgomery. and they will be performing on that Saturday night. Now, you don't have to put a chair at Hubert Park now, but it will be here before you know it. Now, as we look towards the future, there's always going to be uncertainty. Uncertainty at the national level, uncertainty at the state, uncertainty at things we can't possibly imagine. This is nothing new. Uncertainty is part of the human experience. 5 short years ago, we were faced with the first global pandemic in 100 years and all the uncertainty that you can imagine that followed. We experienced extreme weather that led to severe flooding with water at the steps to City Hall. We could have easily fallen into despair, except that it was too much to bring the change we all wanted to see, and just wait until things get better. What we found was what can be accomplished when we are faced with the unknown. We learned that Reynoldsburg is truly a city of respect, where not only do we accept our diversity, we embrace it. We started with small celebrations of Juneteenth, Pride, and Diwali at the footsteps of City Hall. Now they draw thousands from all across the state. We continued forward, charting a bold path that would ultimately lay the foundation that you have seen tonight in development, in the expansion of parks, and improved city communication and services. We are attracting new businesses. Existing businesses are reinvesting here. We are improving infrastructure, building partnerships, and advocating for all the things the community believes in at all levels of government. We learned that we can be a community where everyone can truly live, work, and play. All of this leads me to know that the state of our city is stronger than ever, and our renaissance is just beginning. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming tonight.